It's time for our afternoon coffee talk, isn't it? We're going to get together, chat about the local forecast, chat about the tropics, because A and B-ish together. Bleh. All right, let's check in, see how it is. Oh, man, kind of want to go there. That's a beautiful shot over at Daytona Beach. No, that's New Smyrna Beach. My apologies. New Smyrna Beach, you're looking good. I bet you Daytona's just as pretty. Well, I guess we could check, couldn't we? Hold on, let's check. It's toasty warm, particularly in our inland areas, though. Look at that. It's 87 in Daytona Beach. Let's look at that Daytona Tower cam. Oh, the Speedway. That's right, because we've got the races going on tonight. Also looking good, though, because it's not looking at the beach. New Smyrna's Tower cam works. Okay, 91 in Orlando, 92 degrees in Kissimmee, 93 degrees in Claremont. So it is nice and warm. Our first warning, live Doppler radar. Really not seeing much. We'll put that on loop. A couple of showers working directly to Daytona Beach. Like, tell me that's not funny, right? Yeah, a couple of showers sliding on in, no big deal there. So forecast next couple of hours, not too bad. Just a sprinkle or two. Our 7 o'clock temperature drops us off to the mid 80s and then dropping little by little from there. It's going to be a nice breeze. Friday night football looking great. But of course, I know why you're here. You're not here for the local weather, are ya? Are you? Maybe you are. I'm guessing you're here for the tropics. I could be wrong. Move that 7-day. All right, let's look at the 7-day forecast. And then we can look to the tropics. Okay? Then we can look to the tropics. What am I looking for here? My brain is just not working. All right, well, it hasn't been updated, but I'll do the update real quick. Give me 2 seconds. See, I don't prep coffee talk beforehand. I like you guys to get the real raw version. All right. Perfect. All right, 7-day forecast. There you go. Tracking the tropics next week. That's why you're here, isn't it? You don't care about the local forecast at the moment. Our weekend forecast is getting hot. 95 degrees, our high temperature Saturday. 97 on Sunday. But Tuesday, Wednesday, what's going on with those rain chances? We're tracking the tropics, right? All right, Invest 93. That's the brand new area of moisture that is getting organized. There's a look at the satellite presentation. It's not organized yet. Don't get overly concerned, but there has been a nice bubble up of convection there over the Caribbean Sea today. It's not an organized bubble up of convection, but there's definitely a nice bubble up, okay? So that's the infrared satellite imagery. Here's the visible. Wait a minute. I got to click the right button. There's the visible. My God, I need coffee in the worst way. All right, visible satellite imagery showing convection continuing to bubble, some nice cloud tops bursting on up. So this is, at the very least, feeling cute and bubbling up convection down there. Okay, now it's still undergoing some wind shear. So what we're not anticipating, at least in the short term, is rapid intensification. So we look to the forecast from the National Hurricane Center, and there is a high, say 80% likelihood that over the next 7 days' time, we get something developing in the tropics. But over the next 2 days' time, there is a 40% likelihood, like a medium chance. So it's starting tropical cyclogenesis, or it's starting to form or try to. Now, the models, both the global and now the tropical, the models are bringing it over the Yucatan Peninsula, but the question is, how long does it stay there? And I think that that's going to be the biggest question in the bunch, right? If it gets over the Yucatan Peninsula for a while, it would limit intensification. So let's show you the computer forecast models as they are right now, okay? And essentially, what we're looking at here is a little bit of a jog over to the Yucatan and then working up to the Big Bend of Florida. Okay? That's the tropical models. The global models are in pretty good agreement of that as well, and we'll look at that. But because of this, I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. We need to watch the tropics. Okay? That's a very normal thing. It's hurricane season after all, okay? It's hurricane season, right? College is back in session. Wonder which one it will commit to. Yeah, right? Boom. The Gus Malzahn boom. Okay, so that's the intent. That's the spaghetti models. In terms of intensity models, we haven't gotten those in. We'll get that tonight, and you better believe that I'm going to be posting it. Okay? As far as the models go, Evelyn says, I'm so confused. Panhandler here. Slow down, Evelyn. We don't have any solid information. You're looking at the spaghetti model plots. That's the data that we've got for right now. It's hardly organized. And I want to make sure you understand the difficulty of developing tropical systems is it's hard to know what you got until you got something. And right now we're starting to get something, but we don't know. You know, for me, the first big speed bump ahead with Invest 93, which it's now been tagged, is its interaction with the Yucatan Peninsula. If it hangs there for a while, that would tell me the intensity stays low. If it kind of moves out a little further west and stalls out over the Gulf, it's a different ballgame. Water temperatures there in the mid and upper 80s. So we've got something that's going to try to develop. That much we know. The global models have been saying this for a while. Heck, I said this back in March for next week in this spot geographically. So we've known this. Now it's starting to play out. Okay? Now let's do this. Let's take a look at the models and see what we got. All right? This is raw model data. I'm going to zoom this in because we need to be hyperfixating. That's fine. All right. So this is the GFS. This is the 6Z run. Excuse me. Oh my God, I'm tired. The 12Z run. All right. Now, the 12Z run has definitely shifted. That's the current run of the GFS, Panhandle. You go back one model run, it's Big Bend and much weaker. Go back 2 model runs, it's Southwest Florida and much weaker. You go back 3 model runs, and it's like a blob of nothing. So the GFS has not yet keyed in. It's definitely trying to sniff it out and figure it out. But there's your GFS model. And based on that, you would be looking at a low-end hurricane, more than likely, at landfall, based on the GFS. Okay. Let's switch over to the European, and the European is still coming in. Let's do pressure, normalized anomaly. All right, so there's the European, and let me just bring it full screen for you, and you'll see it's kind of hanging around the Yucatan for a little bit, and then deepening to a 992 low into the Big Bend. Okay, if we look at the winds, it's a tropical storm, winds of 65 right at landfall. All right, but for Central Florida's purposes, it would be 30, 40 mile per hour gusts. Okay, none of these models are showing a major hurricane hit. I'm going to say this for the folks in the back. None of these models are showing a major hurricane hit. Now, could it try to get a little stronger and outplay? Sure. Could it stay weaker? Sure. But what I don't want is for anybody to be freaking out. We're going to have coverage, and we're going to give you more data than we do during a sunny day. Do not confuse that with hype. As a matter of fact, I take that as my responsibility to gear down the hype and to make sure we have right information, because as we all know, it takes, how does the saying go? A lie will make it halfway around the world before the truth gets a chance to get dressed, right? So that's where extended coverage will come in. And I don't mean 24/7 news. God, I hope not. But what I do mean is the idea that we just watch, we'll update, and make sure you know what's going on. Jose's asking, how do I shut his mouth? The answer, Jose, is close out of the window. That's how you shut my mouth. Janice says no hype zone here. Amen. Amen. So there it is. Look, it's bubbling up, and the models are kind of showing that motion. So we'll be watching it the next couple of days. But in terms of wins for us, for right now in Central Florida, 30, 40 mile per hour gusts. It's not going to be a bad storm, at least as of the way it looks right now. But we need to watch, and we need to see how it plays out. It's still too far out for our Futurecast model to get it. Here's our Futurecast model on winds. Give it a second to load. All right. And move this down here. This is the 12Z Futurecast model. And it's definitely got that spin, right? But that goes all the way to 4:35 a.m. Monday, and we haven't gotten it away from the Yucatan yet. Whereas, if you look at like the GFS 12Z run, okay, watch how, the gusty wind, we're seeing more and more blue. That's Monday afternoon is when the GFS is starting to pull it away, right? And then from there, we start to see those winds getting more and more into the kind of northern Gulf. And then you've got right there, right at landfall, that's where you're getting into like hurricane force winds. But according to the single run of the GFS, the 12Z run, that's a hurricane getting into the panhandle. Whereas if we were to go back and look at the 6Z run of the GFS, you've got a mess moving toward like the West Coast. So there's that. And then again, the European, and we were talking about this, the latest run of the European. Give it a second to load. It's loading its data. It's loading its data. And there you go. According to the European, it's basically like a Big Bend impact. And you can see the colors around Central Florida. Greens. So that's 30, 35 mile per hour gusts. So we're not looking at a major hit here. And that across the board is good. But one thing to remember is that intensity models are the weakest player in the game, okay? So no freaking out. Just keep dialed in. Well, of course you're going to say keep dialed in. That's your job is to sell commercial time. A, no commercials on Coffee Talk. B, today's my day off. And C, my tush has been in this chair more than it's not been in this chair today. And it has nothing to do with hyping. It has everything to do with making sure you know exactly what to expect. There you go. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anything whatsoever? Weather Sunday in Tampa should be okay? Yeah, we should be all right. Yeah, I mean, this is, we're looking at by Monday evening, it'll start pulling away from the Yucatan Peninsula. All right. Nick, did I mow the grass? No, I may mow it tonight when it cools down. I went outside to do it and it was just too bloody hot. Yeah. All right. You're keeping us safe and informed. Joanne, that's the goal. Yeah. Thank you. Can you put up a graphic of how ACE points are accrued with tropical systems? Can you please? This is the point. ACE number is just a direct score. You can Google it, Brian, to get like the specificity, but it's just the bigger the storm, the stronger the storm, that sort of thing is ACE points. Status of toilet paper availability. I don't understand how that's a thing. Joanne Rowe, you do a wonderful job. Thank you. Ken asking water temperatures in the Gulf. 86, 87, and 88. It's very warm. Yeah. Ron, you got a great show, Eric. Thank you, buddy. Gail says, I'm on it. Mickey's asking about ensembles. Stand by. All right, GFS ensembles. So there, there's the ensemble plots, and you can kind of see all the little lows. This is the GFS, so most of them are Big Bend into the Panhandle. There's some outliers, but definitely Big Bend into the Panhandle is kind of the look at the lows. If we switch over to the European ensembles, remember there are more European ensembles. That's why you're seeing more of those L's. But Big Bend to the Panhandle is definitely the thought. Big Bend to the Panhandle. Look at all those little L's. Big Ben to the Panhandle. All right. Doing your job and informing us, Tiffany. Yeah, that's the way we do it. You know, Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi is going to be. I'm looking at him updating graphics like a madman. So I could see that every time he saves a graphic, it changes the view. So I can see he's working crazy for y'all, just so that you know. I got like an hour nap in. You know, not much. Unfortunately, not much. Yeah. All right. All right, listen, we're going to be monitoring it. I will be posting a ton into this evening. We'll be posting intensity models. We'll be posting forecast models, all of that fun stuff, okay? Keep you updated. Listen, we call ourselves First Warning Weather for a reason, and that's a true commitment. And I could tell you, I've talked to the boss many times today, like she takes that seriously. Tony, I've talked to a million times. He takes that seriously. I take that seriously. We're going to be here for you through the sunshine, through the storms, and weak tropical storms or strong tropical storms. We will make sure to give you the right information, take your questions, and make sure you understand where we're at. Oliver's asking odds of a Michael repeat as in a category 4/5 storm. Very low, but you can't write anything off, right? But pretty low. There's a decent amount of wind shear. I think the biggest question mark, if I'm honest, is how quickly do we get an actual circulation spinning? We don't have it there yet. We're bubbling up convection. Once it closes off the low, then it can start to develop. Shear should limit that low closing. But once it does, it does. So there you go. All right? All right. I'll be posting through the afternoon and evening, but in about 12, 13 minutes, Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi, with these 1,000 graphics that he has built, will have you covered, okay? Take care, y'all. Thank you so much.